Hey guys, and welcome back to Dan's Pro Shop. This is part 2 of the gooseneck and wiring install on a 2024 Silverado. This one happens to be a 3500 HD crew cab long box. Now this is applicable for a bunch of different models. This just happens to be the one that we got here today. So if you guys missed the first video of actually installing the B&W flip gooseneck hitch, I will link that right up here, as well as the description. So if you guys want to check that out, by all means. But today we are doing the wiring harness for the gooseneck, so you can actually plug in, your fifth wheel in the bed of the truck. We have a factory harness, and if you're doing this on something different, there are a lot of good aftermarket options. But without any further ado, let's get into this thing. So guys, like I mentioned, this is a 2024 Silverado 3500 HD. And since these things are still pretty new, there is limited information out there. So since I'm doing this project, I figured I'd bring you guys along just so there is a decent step-by-step thing out there for you guys to follow if you choose to do this. Well, if you guys do not know, there is a factory option to have these things come right out of the plant with a gooseneck in them. Some have them, some don't. This particular one didn't, that's why I had to put a gooseneck in it. But either way, with these newer trucks, there is like a port here in the rear pillar where the plug would have been from the factory. And luckily enough, I did some scouring online and I found a legit factory GM gooseneck fifth wheel wiring harness. The part number on this thing is 41167, and it's a legit, genuine GM aftermarket part. Well, I guess it's not aftermarket because it's legit GM. But don't worry about searching for this thing. I will link it in the description so you guys can find it a lot easier than I did. Now, if your truck does not have this port, don't worry, I'll show you guys. I know you can't see it right now. There are a lot of good aftermarket options. This one in particular is a Hopkins, but there is Kurt, there is Reese, there's B&W, there's all kinds of different things that you can do, but these ones require you to put it in a remote location. So you have to put like a 2-inch hole saw on the side of your bed so you can put this wiring harness in. That's really as invasive as that project gets, because the way that these harnesses are made, they just like plug and play into the factory harness that's already in the bumper for your regular hitch. So you don't have to do any cutting, no soldering, no splicing. This has gotten way better over the years. So, in case you're wondering why I have both of these, I originally got this one because I thought that's what I had to do. But I was lucky enough to find the factory GM one that's actually going to go in where it's supposed to go, so it'll be really clean, good looking. Either way, let me get you guys in here so you can see what I'm talking about. So guys, that factory port that I was talking about, that's this thing right here. It's just a blank cover if your truck did not come with the gooseneck prep package. However, this is just a cute little plastic cover. It clips out. But you have to get up under there and release some clips. Super easy, I'm telling you. It's just a couple little metal clips and this thing just peels right out of here. But this kit here snaps right into that factory location, so we don't have to blast any holes that you would for the aftermarket one. So yeah, let's get into this. I promise you it's not involved at all. This will only take a couple minutes. So I would love to bring you guys under here so you can actually see what's going on, but you can kind of see where it is, and you quite literally have to put your half of your body up in there behind the tail light, and then you can feel the back of that plug and you just release those little clips. I'll show it to you once I get it out, and it's really self-explanatory how it works. But you don't even need any tools. So there's a nice spot, just big enough for you to fit your arm in right behind the tail light, and that's it. That's all there is to it. Oh, now I'm losing everything out of my pockets. But yeah, check this out. It's just a blank cover. There's nothing involved, and there's just a couple little metal clips that hold it into the bedside. That's all it is. But the good, like, factory one mimics this. It has this same plug clip-in system. So the new plug just right in there. So guys, here's a better look. You guys can tell here, this is a factory GM fifth wheel wiring harness. There's the part number 41167. And just in case you're wondering, this may produce cancer or reproductive harm. So in case you're worried about wiring and reproductive harm, that's nice it's on the label. But like I mentioned, this thing does not require any splicing or soldering at all. So this is the dummy plug that we took out from the factory, and then this is the one that goes in its place. You can tell they're identical. This one is just ready to go for trailer wiring. We have our regular 7-pin up here, the round one that you would see on most bigger trailers. And it's nice that they even include the 4-pin here. As chances are you probably won't be using that one in the bed, but either way, it's cool that it's there. And it fits perfectly in the factory location, so it looks good and clean. This entire project is as factory as it can get. And the harness itself couldn't be any more self-explanatory. The one with the 90-degree angle, that goes on the back of this thing to allow for room for that thing to fit inside the pillar back there. And then these two plugs, you just unplug the existing plug on your bumper, you plug this guy in line with it, and then that makes this hot. I'm telling you, super simple. All right, now that we're under here, you don't even have to take the spare tire out for this if you don't choose to. I mean, it'll give you more room, but you don't have to. You guys can see right here, this is the plug on the back of the wiring harness for your trailer plug on the bumper. This is the one that all the trucks come with. All we need to do is unplug this thing and then plug our aftermarket harness into it. So I know this is going to be difficult for you guys to see, but there's a little plastic keeper tab thing, just like all automotive plugs. You got to pull that thing out, then pinch it, and the plug comes right off. Yep, there you go. That's all there is to it. That's nice. Make sure you get all that water out of there. But there is watertight seals in this, so don't be concerned. So what we're going to do is, since this is the wiring harness coming out of the truck that supplies everything, we simply just need to wire this one in between them. So one of these pigtails goes to feed the one up in the bed that we're adding, and the other one goes right back to where that plug used to be. And in case you guys are wondering which one's which, one side's male, one side's female. You can't mess it up. So now before we go to put this together, I'm going to take myself a little bit of dielectric grease and coat these connectors. Because I don't know about you guys, I never want to have to get back in here and do this again. So we might as well do something to help ourselves a little bit. Now don't go crazy with this stuff. Just squeeze it in there enough to make it work. So we simply plug this one into where the factory one came out of. You'll hear it lock. And then we plug the one that came out of the truck into the other side of this one. And you hear it lock. Don't worry, we'll do some cable management whenever it comes to that point. And then we just run this one up into that hole where we took that plug out of. So here, I'm just running this cord up over top of the frame rail here, right at the back. Don't worry, there's plenty of free cable here. Now we got to fish this thing up through the hole in the side of the bed. And try not to kill yourself. Cool. Now that we got that done, let's go back upstairs. Alright, so you guys can see here that we simply just put it through this hole here. Same thing. A little more dielectric grease to help the medicine go down. Can't possibly hurt. We're just keeping the corrosion and stuff out of there. Now, like I said, these are weather-tight plugs, but it absolutely cannot hurt. And then, we just index this thing together. Whoop. And that's it. We just go ahead and slam this whole thing back together. And I tell you what, before we do this, let's just go ahead and plug some stuff into this and check it before we put everything together for forever. Now this thing right here is a tool that I've had in my toolbox for quite a while. This is just a nice little diagnostic tool specifically for trailer plugs. We have a 7-pin connection over here and then the 4-pin up here. And we just have a little array of LEDs that will turn on and tell you what function is happening inside of your plug. Here we have left turn, markers, right turn, 12 volt, brakes, and battery. So whenever we do different things will light up on here. So I'm just going to plug this in, go up in the cab, turn the headlights on, and turn on the four ways to make sure that we actually have signal here. Alright, so we got our four-way flashers on. You guys can tell here, I know it's a little difficult to see, but the solid one is our 12 volt power, and then we have left turn and right turn blinking. So now I know for sure this plug is working. We can put everything back together. And this process here couldn't be any more simple. Just put everything in the hole, and it clips right into the factory spot. There you go. You're set, and look how awesome that looks. Now we can go back underneath and just wrap that stuff up, clean it up a little bit, put some zip ties on everything. Now here she is all said and done and buttoned up. Look how nice and factory this looks. We got the 7-pin on the bottom, the 4-pin on the top, and it goes right where it's supposed to. Super clean. I'm really happy with the way this turned out. Guys, like I mentioned, underneath I just did a little bit of cable management with some zip ties, get creative, keep things out of the way, you know, keep it from rubbing on stuff, but honestly, couldn't be easier. If you're interested in this trailer plug diagnostic checker plug thing, I will throw this down in the description along with these harnesses. Now guys, like I mentioned, this is a direct GM thing, but you have the aftermarket ones also. I just, luckily, I was fortunate enough that I found the one that fit in the place it's supposed to be, so I didn't have to blast another hole in the truck. But like I said, if you didn't catch the first part of this video about installing the gooseneck, then it's a good time. Check it out. I'll link that in the description also. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and this can make this project a little bit easier if and when you plan on doing it. So we'll see you guys next time.